If you are wondering why Call of Duty is a clustered mess, it's because their literal motto was, "Embrace the madness." I am not kidding. Yes, that was their driving principle behind the new Black Ops 7. What does the movie Memento and the game series Batman have in common with Black Ops 7? Well, buckle in, neighbors. It's time for another deep dive, and today we are discussing what is going on with the Call of Duty franchise. And boy, is it a hot mess. The year is 2022, and for reasons I still don't understand, Activision thinks it's a good idea to unify the Call of Duty franchise. Now, usually I am all for keeping consistency, but I think this, as you will see, is one of the worst decisions Activision could have made. They somehow ripped failure from the tightening jaws of success. Congrats, Activision. Only you could have done such an amazing feat. Well, the reason they say they are uniting the franchise is to save on costs by streamlining integration across their studios. And as you will see later, they did anything but that. You see, up until this point, each Call of Duty was made by their respective studio. Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Treyarch. They each kind of had their own unique spin and take on the series. And this is fine. People know they are going to get something different with Treyarch's Black Ops versus Infinity Ward's Modern Warfares. We as consumers know there is a degree of separation for each franchise. We can make that distinction. But now,
time is over when Nikki drops in.
yeah, it's not going well. So Activision, in all of its genius, decided they hated each of their studios having their own tech and engine branches, and they were wasting money by each studio doing their own thing. They don't want to do work twice. So let's just take all the food on our plate and just mash it together. How did this happen? Back in 2018, there really isn't a dedicated franchise director for Call of Duty. Well, technically, Rob Kostich is the franchise director, but he is also the president of Activision Publishing. During this time, Patrick Kelly, who is co-head of Infinity Ward, has been rising through the ranks. He was one of the major visionaries behind Warzone, which was a massive success for the Call of Duty franchise. It was Patrick and his counterpart at Infinity Ward, Dave Stoll, that originally pitched Warzone, codenamed Project Magma. Well, his success landed him the promotion of creative director over the Call of Duty franchise. I'm not sure exactly when this happened, but all signs that I could find point to Warzone's success landing him this job promotion. Now, let's fast forward back to 2022. With Patrick's new position of creative director and the success of Warzone, he announces that all future Call of Duties will be under one unified engine. And this unifying of all the Call of Duty series, in my opinion, is what has become the slop of all the food, aka studios, getting mashed together that we have now. And ironically, they were actually aware of this pitfall that this might homogenize the series. Now, Patrick Kelly isn't bad. He's been working on the Call of Duty franchise a long time, but the success of Warzone I do not believe warranted slopping all of the Call of Duties together. Hey, quickly, just want to pop in here and say if you're liking the video, if you could like and subscribe, that helps me grow my channel, and that means a lot, especially because I'm still growing YouTube channel. Thanks a lot. Back to the video. Now, what exactly do I mean by slopping the Call of Duties together? Well, as I mentioned previously, each Call of Duty had their own studio, and they were able to develop and lead their own ship. It was working. Outside of Black Ops 4, we'll talk more on that one later. Well, do you know Cold War, Black Ops 6, and 7 were co-developed and not led just by one studio? Yeah. Oh, it's about to get a little messy here. Stick with me or I'm going to lose you. Black Ops 6 was co-developed by Treyarch and Raven Studios, but by my understanding, it was like a cyborg they pieced together. Treyarch was responsible for the multiplayer, zombies, weapon, and core mechanics. To be frank, the successful part of the Black Ops franchise. And Raven Studios, the campaign. So for Black Ops 6 and 7, the wonderful campaign you got to experience, working through grief and inner trials, dealing with personal struggles, that's the beautiful work of Raven and not necessarily Treyarch. Zombies and multiplayer? Treyarch. But wait, why didn't just Treyarch develop the whole thing then? I think this actually stems back to Black Ops 4. If you remember that debacle, the game launched without a campaign and got hammered for the lack of not including one. You see, Treyarch loves zombies and multiplayer, and they wanted to focus on that. So they launched a game with just that, zombies and multiplayer. But the biggest complaint, lack of a campaign. So in order to allow Treyarch to work on their babies, zombies and multiplayer, they decided to cyborg the development like this beauty and attach Raven Studios to Treyarch to keep Black Ops running. So Cold War, Black Ops 6, and 7 were developed with Raven leading that campaign, and Treyarch got to keep its focus on the aspects it loved. So what happened with this awful campaign? Well, one is my speculation and the other is confirmed sources. But first, my best guess. In 2020, Natalie Pohorski was hired on as narrative producer at Raven Studios. If you remember, they're responsible for the campaign, with tasks that include managing the narrative pipelines and responsible for script management. By 2023, she was promoted to lead producer. She writes herself on her LinkedIn page that she leads the global content production team focused on managing the narrative, cinematic, and audio pipelines. Now, she may not have written the actual script, but by my understanding, she's the one steering the direction of the whole narrative at a high level. Now, she is credited on Cold War, which people did overall enjoy the campaign of, but my guess is that with her hire date in 2020 and the game coming out just later that same year, she wasn't as deeply involved in the overarching story as she was in Black Ops 6 and 7, and that's starting to show. Here's Natalie talking about some of the new characters in Black Ops 7 herself.
Now let's meet the team. 50/50 is one of our new characters. She's pretty amazing. She's Samoan, and she's kind of worked her way up, and then at a certain point in her life started experiencing this degenerative disease. Rather than getting taken away from the fields, she is willing to get some of her limbs replaced with bionic limb replacements. Alongside these new and returning faces, we're introducing Emma Kagan, portrayed by Kiernan Shipka. As the CEO of the Guild, Emma has positioned herself as humanity's last line of defense against the emerging threat. But her philosophy on how to confront this crisis puts her at odds with David and his team, raising questions about trust, control, and the cost of survival.
So by my best guess, the overarching tone and direction of the story she is responsible for, or at least heavily influences. And roughly the time she came on is about the time we started getting these really whacked out stories. Correlation does not prove causation, but that's just my guess. Man, Call of Duty is such a mess. I am all over the place. If you are enjoying this video so far, if you could like and subscribe if you like my deep dives, it really helps my channel grow. I am still a small channel trying to fight my way through the YouTube algorithm, and I'll start featuring my favorite comment at the end of the video too, so give me some content to cook with. So where does Embrace the Madness and Patrick come into all of this? Well, there is a lot to discuss here. Let's first tackle the Embrace the Madness principle. In an interview with TechRadar, Miles Leslie, the associate creative director at Treyarch, literally said that embracing the madness was a guiding principle. You know what? Let me read it in context. For the team, that twist was the hallucinations that have run throughout the series, but directly confronting your own fear and regrets in a world that is in constant conflict in 2035. Inspiration came from across the whole team as they looked to Memento and Scarecrow's depiction in Batman for ideas. It's a layer across the whole game. It's what I think makes it special, as we like to say, embrace the madness. That tagline acted as a guiding principle during development. Really? Really, guys? By my understanding and research, well, there was always an element of psychological warfare in Black Ops. It was always grounded in boots on the ground missions. It was the side story, not this main point. And they decided, you know what? You know that crazy element that was in the story? Let's just full send that. Boots on the ground? Nah. Let's even throw some zombies in there. And what a mess. Embrace the madness they did. People like Black Ops 1 and 2, not necessarily because of the mind twist element, but because they are rooted in plausible events in history, and not this. It took me 1 week to realize this, and I haven't even played the Black Ops series, but saw this sentiment after reading and watching reviews on the game series, as I do for every video, so I understand what the audience thinks about a game before I jump into it. Yet a massive corporation couldn't figure out why their audience loves the series. I'm honestly kind of shocked. Let me give some commentary here for a moment, if you will, especially if Patrick or someone high up from Activision is watching. You have taken the soup and combined all the flavors together. I don't want my ice cream with my spaghetti. I want each food to have its own flavor. So, hear me out. Separate Call of Duty again. Make Call of Duty Zombies. This would be a separate thing where you can do all the crazy and wild crap you want with the storylines. Go all in on a campaign about zombies, time travels, whatever. But its game is confined to Call of Duty Zombies. We know what we are getting in that release. Bat poop crazy, but at least we know what is going into our mouth when we take a bite. Then you can separate Call of Duty Black Ops into more grounded stories, so each dish gets its own spot at the table, but combining them isn't working. Okay, so we have discussed Embrace the Madness, possible leaders for the campaign story. Now, what about budget? Let's talk budget. In a leaked document, Call of Duty shows they are bleeding money and dying. Well, kind of. Not dying, but numbers are not going up. Budget is, but copies sold is going down. Not a good trend. For Call of Duty Black Ops 3, they spent $450 million and sold 43 million copies. Call of Duty Modern Warfare in 2019, they spent $640 million and sold 41 million copies. And lastly, Call of Duty Cold War, they spent $700 million and sold 30 million copies. And this is back in 2020. I can only imagine what it is now. Money spent go up and copies sold go down. Steam charts reflect this trend too. Every big release, the number of players are getting smaller and smaller. And this is why I believe we are getting this.
Time is over when Nikki drops in.
And this. Oh, and this. Oh, and this too.
Wheelbarrow into a bulldog. Just incredible.
And I believe it's all because of the burning pile of money Activision is spending on their budgets now. They need to make up the cash somehow. Activision remembers those sweet, sweet days of loot boxes, so they are going to try and make the money somewhere. The studio needs to make money and they are burning it in the game development, and that's why you are getting anything they can shove into Call of Duty that they can charge the customer for. If Activision could get away with it, they'd probably slap mobile-style time gate meters on Call of Duty. Come back in 6 hours or buy gems to play more. And if this spending spiral keeps going, don't be shocked when the monetization ramps up even more. Investors got to get fed somehow. Anywho, that was a mess. Call of Duty is just a bunch of different food dishes getting mashed together, and the chef is demanding more money from you because he can't manage his finances properly. I don't know about you, but I won't be paying for that slop. Thanks for watching. I hope you are having a great week. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to.
We need to let him finish the job, otherwise... No.